So basically, the gas price is too high, but they're going to give out rebates with printed money to try and tackle inflation that started because of too much printed money. Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics with a rather shocking report about the latest Joe Biden administration plans to tackle inflation. I wasn't sure if they were serious about this one. It appears they were. Although Biden hopes to solve inflation, how? Well, actually, a familiar response from politics and central banking. Even more inflation, handing out gas rebate cards. So basically, the gas price is too high, but they're going to give out rebates with printed money to try and tackle inflation that started because of too much printed money. Although amazingly, the rebate card idea has already been derailed by an ongoing chip shortage. So, not an ideal situation. Here you see White House officials are exploring sending Americans rebate cards to offset gas costs. And they ran into another problem that the chip shortage means that they couldn't even produce enough cards to make the plan work. Again, not surprising. You saw Ben Bernanke respond to a crisis, the housing bubble, that was caused by debt and printed money by borrowing and printing even faster than ever. And the Biden administration using a similar tactic here. Here, some White House officials also expressed concern that there would be no way to prevent people from using the cards for purchases other than gasoline. So keep your eyes out on some of these statements that come out of seeming adults that are quite silly when you boil them down. Here, they're also encouraging state governors to lower or waive their gas taxes. So a complex set of plans here. I'm not sure how well these are going to work out, but he says we're going to work to bring down gas and food prices. We can save families money and other items. I wouldn't bank on that happening. Again, Jerome Powell also said inflation was contained. We saw how that worked out. Here, a note from GATA, our good friends Chris Powell and Bill Murphy at GATA, who have shed a lot of light on some of the nefarious things governments do to cover up that inflation. And they were pointing out that former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers had a new paper out studying inflation. And there was an interesting comment here because the recent study suggests that the originally reported core CPI in June 1980 of 13.6% would have only been 9.1% using the current formula for calculating the CPI. This compares to a core CPI of 6% reported in May this year. So again, for those who are unfamiliar, the formula used to calculate CPI has changed quite a bit. And while some might cite the June 1980 mark of 13.6% and say, well, that's much higher than what we're experiencing now, if you adjusted the formula appropriately, checking in at 9.1%, which is pretty close to where we're at. And the study also mentions that to return to a 2% core CPI today, we thus need disinflation of a similar magnitude as Chairman Volcker achieved. And I don't think Jerome Powell's going to be getting anywhere near 20%. Is quite unfortunate. Seems the Fed is backed into a corner, which is why many, including myself, believe that in due time, we're going to see the Fed reverse that course and print a lot of money just like they did the last time with Bernanke and really have been doing since then. So again, this is why I do this channel, which focuses on the inflation that I thought was going to come 10 years ago when they implemented those Bernanke policies. Unfortunate, but just trying to keep you prepared. And I thought this was worth noticing because here, even on CNBC, their anchors are questioning the idea that this is all just the result of Putin, which is what the current administration is blaming it on. But let's take a listen here.
When you're conducting polls, and I'm sure you're asking not just how is inflation affecting you and how important it is, but you must ask for who do you think caused it? Who do you think is responsible? What do you get? The Putin price hike. How many people buy into that? I guess they might say maybe part of it is that, but how many think that that's the main reason that we're in this situation?
And that's the right question to ask for a political impact. And a significant percentage, about a third, blame the war in Ukraine for what's happening, although we're not even talking about the shortages. Right now, you can get food, but it's really expensive. With what we know is going to come out of Ukraine in the months to follow, we're not even going to be able to get the food by the time we go into the early fall.
Which hopefully will not be the case. But again, just the idea that even CNBC and pollsters that they're bringing on are pointing out that this was happening long before the invasion into Ukraine. Again, here's a note we've shared before on Twitter. The dotted line is Putin's invasion. Just kidding. It's the inauguration. You see, this was spiking all throughout 2021. So, not just a result of what's happened with Russia and Ukraine, although that certainly has really brought the issue to a forefront. And hopefully, we'll see some positive resolution there soon, even if so far that does not so much seem to be the case. Quick note here from Wall Street Journal, where more than 60% of executives see a recessionary period in the next 12 to 18 months, which I would think maybe there's more credence there than what Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen, they continue to say, well, the economy is strong. They see no signs of a recession. Well, the people who are actually out there doing business continue to see signs. It's unfortunate, but I think some of these statements out of Powell and Yellen are going to go down in the history books, like Ben Bernanke saying subprime was contained as the market was unraveling, which was what he used as the justification to bring us down this path, which has now predictably led to the inflation that, again, as I mentioned, is unfortunate, because here you see record high inflation forces some older Americans to make tough financial choices. I think that's the tragedy of all this, because people who are on a fixed income and are not really as easily equipped to handle the higher prices are paying the costs of that policy. So before we wrap up, we'd just like to say a quick thank you to Silver Viper, who brought us today's video, who thinks they have found the source of the higher grade sulfides beneath their El Ruby deposit and is drilling there to further examine some of the targets they recently found in their geophysics survey. So to find out more about that, the link is in the description field below. Silver Viper, one of the companies that is out exploring gold and silver. And for an update of what they're doing, well, just click on the video coming your way now.